Jordan Halley used to be proud of how much he could carry. Not physically, though he had the stocky shoulders of someone who moved too many couches for friends who swore they would pay him back someday, but emotionally. He'd learned early that people liked you more when you made their problems smaller, even if it meant making your own invisible. But lately, everything felt heavier. He sat in his car in the company parking lot, engine off, hands limp on the steering wheel. The world outside blurred through his windshield. Co-workers rushing to their cars, laughter floating by, someone complaining loudly about their manager. None of it registered. He was underwater, watching life move from behind a thick pane of glass. He hadn't meant to stay in the car this long. He'd pulled in at 8:12 a.m. It was 8:47 now. Almost 35 minutes of sitting completely still. His chest ached with a tightness he had no explanation for. He kept trying to swallow something that wasn't physically there, a lump of dread, or maybe guilt, or maybe both. It's just a long week, he told himself. You are tired. Go inside. He took a slow breath and looked at his reflection in the rear-view mirror. His eyes were puffy and dull, framed by dark shadows. His hair was unbrushed. He looked like someone who wasn't sleeping, which was true. He hadn't slept more than 3 hours a night in weeks. He looked like someone who was not okay. But he knew exactly what he'd say if anyone asked. I'm fine. Jordan finally forced his hand onto the door handle. The moment he stepped out of the car, the mask slipped back on, almost automatically. His spine straightened, his jaw set. He became reliable Jordan. Again, the guy who always held the door, who remembered birthdays, who covered shifts without sighing. Inside the office, a burst of fluorescent lights hit him hard. People were already at their desks. The morning buzz filled the air. Printers whining, keyboards clacking, phones ringing. Morning, Jay. Someone called. Jordan smiled reflexively. Morning. He sat at his desk, opened his laptop, and stared at his inbox. 46 unread messages blinked back at him. His stomach dropped. He used to be able to handle this: emails, projects, meetings, questions. It used to be manageable. But something had shifted. What once felt like daily routine now felt like climbing a hill with cinder blocks strapped to his ankles. Rough morning? Jordan didn't jump. Marcus Reed always approached quietly, somehow moving with the smooth confidence of someone who never second-guessed his presence. Jordan turned in his chair. Nah, just tired. Marcus leaned against his desk, arms crossed. He had the kind of unbothered demeanor that made people trust him instantly. He wasn't loud or overly friendly, but he had an openness about him that made people feel like they didn't need armor. Jordan envied that. Didn't look like just tired when I walked past your car, Marcus said. Jordan froze. You saw me? Hard not to. You were staring at your steering wheel like it stole your wallet. Jordan forced a laugh. Just thinking. Thinking or spiraling? Marcus asked casually. Jordan blinked, caught off guard. Most people would have joked or moved on. Marcus observed. Jordan shrugged. Does it matter? It does if it's weighing on you. Jordan's instinct was to deflect it with humor. What, you my therapist now? Marcus didn't smile. You look like you need one. It wasn't judgmental, it was matter of fact. Still, Jordan felt a sting of embarrassment. That familiar voice in his head whispered, Don't bother people with your baggage. They don't need your mess. I'm good, Jordan said. Seriously, Marcus didn't push. Instead, he straightened up, and nodded. "All right. But for the record, you don't have to carry everything yourself." Jordan opened his mouth to dismiss it, but the words wouldn't come, because a part of him, a buried, exhausted part, wanted to believe what Marcus said. But belief was dangerous. Belief implied hope. Marcus walked away, leaving Jordan alone with his inbox and the heaviness inside his chest. By lunchtime, Jordan had already made 2 mistakes, minor ones. A misspelled client name, attaching the wrong file. Things anyone could do. But to Jordan, it felt like evidence. You're slipping. You're disappointing people. You're not trying hard enough. You're failing. He sat alone in a booth in the corner of the company cafeteria. He poked at his sandwich but barely ate. Conversations hummed around him, but they blurred into white noise. His phone vibrated. A message from Ava Morgan. "Ava, hey stranger, haven't heard from you in a bit. You alive?" Jordan's chest tightened. Ava, his childhood best friend. The one person who could hear the tremor behind his smile. The person who once knew him better than he knew himself. He typed quickly. "Jordan, alive and fine. Just busy LOL, ha." He added LOL to soften it, even though he didn't feel like laughing. 3 dots appeared instantly. Then it disappeared. Then reappeared. "Ava, you don't sound fine. Talk to me." Jordan swallowed. His throat felt thick. He stared at the message for a full minute, thumb hovering over the keyboard. He wanted to tell her everything. How tired he was. How empty he felt. How he'd been pretending for months and was running out of energy. How sometimes in the quiet moments the weight on his chest felt like someone pressing a hand against his sternum. He wanted to say, "Ava, I'm not okay," but he typed, "Jordan, really? I'm good. Just long days." Another pause. "Ava, all right. But I'm always here. Don't shut me out, Jay." He put his phone face down on the table. His chest felt heavier than when he'd woken up. The rest of the day blurred. Work, numbness, silence, pretending. When 5 p.m. finally arrived, Jordan walked out to his car and felt that familiar dread rise again. He didn't want to go home. He didn't want to stay at work. He didn't want anything. He sat in his car, staring at the ignition. Just like this morning, just like every day this week, he wasn't crying. He wasn't panicking. He wasn't breaking down. It was worse than that. He felt nothing. Nothing at all. He stared at his hands, waiting for the feeling to return, sadness, anger, even frustration, something, anything. But there was only numbness. A quiet whisper echoed in his head. "You are disappearing." His phone buzzed. A new message. From Marcus. "Marcus, saw you leave. You okay?" Jordan didn't answer. He couldn't. Seconds passed. Then another message. "Marcus, you don't have to talk. Just tell me you made it home safe." Jordan stared at the screen. His throat tightened. His fingers trembled. Still, the words he typed, the same words he'd said all his life, felt automatic. "Jordan, yeah, I'm fine." But for the first time, as he hit send, Jordan felt something terrifying. He wasn't sure how much longer that answer would be true.